Hi, my name is Janna Donovan. I'm an anxiety therapist with an MBA, and I'm otherwise known as the work stress guru. But today I'd like to talk with you about something that I also treat, which is depression and grief and dark thoughts. And so during this time, I thought it might be good for us to talk about grief and the five stages of grief, and then a little ending up a little bit about dark thoughts. I want to remind you that grief has five stages, and a lot of us are going through that right now during the pandemic and all the quarantining we're having to do and being alone. And I'm sure that every one of these feelings you're having, and it's a no-brainer to kind of express them. Maybe for you, but for me, it's been a little hard because feeling shock, which is the first stage, can be difficult for a lot of people. They have not really come into contact with thoughts about death and their own death. So this is really hard. It's a very scary thing to encounter. And in the shock of having to think about, would I risk my life for somebody else? Would I risk my life for a loved one? Who's going to give it to me? These kinds of things. So shock was the first stage of grief. Another stage of grief is denial. The second stage is that this can't possibly be happening. This is not happening. This is, that was just a bad dream that I went to sleep last night, and I'm going to wake up and it's all going to be over. So that's a lot of denial, and I think that's protective because we don't really want to take it in. We don't want to assume it's true, and so we might have all been back there 3 weeks ago. Another stage, or the next stage of grief, is bargaining. It's another stage we were at probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that is to say, please don't let this be happening. Or if we've lost a loved one or someone is in the hospital, thinking, please take me rather than them. Please help this not to be true. How can I go back in time and change what brought us all to this point? And that kind of brings us to the fourth stage, which is anger. And there's a lot of blame and gritting our teeth during anger. And we resent the people, and we lash out at whoever we think is responsible. And no matter what side you're on politically, you're going to be mad at somebody. You're going to blame somebody for too much distancing, or not enough quarantining, or this country, or that person, or that practice. So anger is a place that a lot of people stay, and a lot of people are in it, and it makes us very irritable during this time. And we can go back and forth through the stages of denial and bargaining, and it's not really that bad, and it'll be over in a second, and then back to anger again. And we might get angry at the smallest of things. I've been noticing that for me, not the big thing. I get mad at the package that won't open, the smallest things that are irritating us. So the final stage of grief is acceptance. And acceptance is a time not of saying, oh, that was nothing, I got this, or I'm just going to give up. You know what? I don't care. That's not acceptance. Acceptance is saying, well, this is a thing, and it happened, and to me, and to us. And so now I guess I have to figure out how to go on. How do I choose to come out of this? What can I do just this hour to be better and to survive it? What can I do just this hour to stop being so irritable and biting people's heads off at my house and wasting energy on blaming or being mad at somebody? So acceptance is a good place to be, and it doesn't say you're giving up. It's just kind of like that serenity prayer. It's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But finally, if you're not really able to get to that acceptance stage, and you're really going more towards dark thoughts, I wanted to remind you, please, if you're thinking of dark thoughts, especially, they can come when we're alone. And if you were already thinking about harming yourself or hurting yourself, I'd love for you to reach out to somebody, and even more so, call a number that they answer 24 hours a day, and that's 1-800-273-TALK. It's on all the time. Someone will talk to you about dark thoughts. No judge. It's just saying, hey, we all have them. We've had them at different times in our life, even when it wasn't a pandemic. So the number again is 1-800-273-TALK, or TALK. It's easy to remember. Or 1-800-273 8255, which is just TALK on your phone. Um, so I hope that you will find a person to talk to about this and about your stages of grief, that you'll let yourself feel them, express them, and do a lot of different things with your feelings that are good for you and not bad. And then if you are having those dark thoughts, I hope you'll call and talk to somebody. And they man the phones 24 hours a day. So anyway, take care of yourself. Let me hear from you if you need to. And if I'm not licensed in your state, I'll show you how to find someone who is. I'm Janna Donovan, Work Stress Guru. My website is www.workstress.guru. Thanks.